He's deceased. John, Army, Henry, is fight Vietnam era. World War II, he's 85. And Daniel, Air Force, Germany. Manny, he's a Navy vet, Vietnam, and then me, Vietnam era. Okay, thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Lauren. Carol? Carol Hare.
We just switch places. Good morning to all of you. I'm just here in support of 3.44. My oldest son is a veteran. My son is now deceased, but I think the veterans need a little help. And like Mr. Sanderson said, we all could chip in and make sure that they get a fair deal, because they went and fought for us, and they stood on the front lines, so we can stand here and complain and yap at you or whatever, vice versa. So I think we support this deal. That's all I have to say to that one. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Carol. Teresa Newman, or Newham, if I'm pronouncing that incorrectly, I apologize. Newham or Newman?
Newham.
Newham.
It's actually Newham, but no one can, so. Okay, I know that you guys are all aware of who I am, and I know Mr. Buster, Mr. Tavaglione, and Mr. Stone, you have been aware that what all of these wonderful gentlemen are saying was law since 2007, when I brought the Wounded Warrior Act to you at March Joint Powers, when I was trying to get housing built for my disabled dying husband from the Vietnam War. And I suggested to all of you that you read the Wounded Warrior Act in its entirety, because if you do, it's already law that you have to provide jobs for disabled veterans and the military first, before anybody else gets jobs. That is the law under the Wounded Warrior Act. And Mr. Booster, for you to be representing veterans when my husband is dying from his service-connected injuries, and so is my brother as we speak, and you served in the Panama Canal and Argentina, you partied hardy. Shame on you. You guys are all crooks, and we'll get to all of that later. Please remember when you vote.
Are you in support of 3.44?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. All right, there are no further speakers on this. I would like to first thank Mario and David for bringing this forward to us. And also, I know you've been in close contact with our trade labor unions. We appreciate that. It's your leadership that allows us to help provide the conduits, if you will, to allow our veterans returning, to get them back and retrained into an additional line of work, and also help them establish their lives, which is gone through traumatic times in recent years. So we want to thank you. I also want to thank Tom Freeman. Tom, raise your hand for putting this forward and working with Mario and David. This is the right thing to do, and we'll see more of this as time goes on, so thank you. I'll move approval of item 3.44. I'm sorry, Supervisor Stone, did you want to say something?
Yeah, I'll second your motion. I just want to applaud you for getting this on the agenda, and I've long been critical of the federal government's lack of support for veterans and returning veterans, and I empathize with the prior speaker. She has a right to be very upset. You know, the local government only can do so much, but it is really the federal government that really should have the responsibility financially and the obligation to ensure that anybody that puts their lives on the line for this country receive the appropriate help, irrespective of any branch of the military that they have been associated with. And I've had conversations with people that were in the Coast Guard that for some reason don't get the same benefits as somebody that was in the Army, and I believe that you serve this country, your country must serve your needs, and this is going to become especially important now because We have many people that are coming home from Iraq and Afghanistan that have debilitating injuries, both physically and mentally, and we cannot, as a society, kick these veterans to the curb the way that Vietnam veterans were kicked to the curb. And we must understand that when we make a decision to have military action in another country, many of us are entitled to our opinions, but we have a commander-in-chief, whether you like him or not only the present president, but prior presidents, but when we put our men and women in harm's way, we have an obligation to make sure that we do everything we can to support their families, and we use all the sources of money that we get from the federal and state government to ensure that we do everything we can to help them with their injuries and hopefully adapt them back to society, and certainly job matching and giving them the skills to work in this modern workforce is something that I know this entire board embraces. And again, Supervisor Tavaglione, thank you for bringing this forward.
Thank you, Supervisor Stone. I would like to ask council, based on the comments made by Ms. Newham, that we look further into the Wounded Warriors Act, and I'm going to tell you why. I was contacted 2 or 3 months ago by a veteran who asked whether we were going to give preferential hiring privileges, and this is through the Riverside County Transportation Commission, not the County of Riverside, but our Transportation Commission, give preference to homeless veterans or returning veterans. And I was told that due to the federal contracting requirements on projects with federal funding, that the only obligation we had was to provide for disadvantaged contractors, but not veterans. And so I would like to confirm that and determine if there is, as Ms. Newham says, wording in the Wounded Warrior Act, then we need to determine if in fact it's there and ensure that all our agencies are giving preferential treatment to veterans.
We'll go ahead and do that, Chairman. There's also a existing policy B17, which provides a preference for disabled veteran business enterprises.
For the county.
For the county.
County of Riverside. All right, thank you. All right, we have a motion and a second. Please vote. Motion is unanimous. Now we go on to item 3.48, Supervisor Stone.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think you may have some speakers on this. This is a recommendation from the Executive Office to adopt a resolution 2012-166 determining the amount of property tax revenue to be exchanged between the Banning Library District and the County of Riverside.
I think you're on the wrong one, Supervisor Stone.
3.48?
3.48 is the support of the 2012 Farm Bill.
Oh, okay. Well, Mr. Chair, thank you. I would like, as I understand, they kind of indented 3.49. Yes, I want to say that I would like to pull 3.492, so we'll reconsider that. But no, I would like to support the 2012 Farm Bill in support of the Farm Bureau. Again, we've discussed it in great detail about the importance and significance of agriculture in our county, and I would like to applaud Supervisor Tavaglione and Buster for bringing this forward, and we'll move staff recommendation.
All right, I'll second your motion. Thank you, Supervisor Stone. Item 3.48, please vote. Motion is unanimous. Now we go to item 3.49, and we do have a number of speakers on this. So before we do this, I'm going to call on a presentation by, are you giving this presentation, Rob? Why don't you come forward, please? And then we'll call on our speakers.
Morning, Supervisors. Rob Field, Assistant County Executive Officer, Economic Development Agency. As you're all aware, part of one of the 24 divisions within the agency is the county library system. The proposal before you today is for a change in the tax revenue allocations between the library district and the Banning Library District and the County of Riverside with respect to the Cabazon area. The county, as one of its last redevelopment projects, is building a new civic center in Cabazon, and it includes a new 5,000 square foot state-of-the-art library that will serve Cabazon and environs. The county intends to operate that, add that library to our system. The proposal before you today would provide the source of operating revenue for that library. It's a detachment from the Banning Library District and an addition to the county's library system. There's unquestionably an impact to the Banning Library District, but the current library in Cabazon has been closed since June of 2011. The county library system has been operating a bookmobile in Cabazon 2 days a week at the James A. Venable Community Center, right next door to the site upon which the new library is being constructed, and immediately adjacent to Cabazon Elementary School. Again, the proposal before you today is to provide a source of operating revenue for that new library, which will be opening a little bit later this year. We humbly request your support for our proposal, and we are available for questions, certainly either now or after discussion.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Field. Let's hold up on questions. Go to our speakers first. We're going to start with those in opposition to this. Luis Lopez, I'm going to remind the speakers that you have 3 minutes. As I call you forward, when I call the second name, if you could get in line, we'd appreciate it. You have 3 minutes, and then we cut you off at the end of the 3 minutes. So when the red light starts flashing, it means your time's up. Luis Lopez, Mark Gastelum will follow her, and Lauren Robinson will follow Mark.
Good morning, my name is Luis Lopez. My husband is Augustine Lopez, and we are property owners in Cabazon. I want to thank you for the opportunity to speak. I'm concerned because I pray that you do keep the library for the children. The residents in Cabazon are poor and do not have the money to drive to Banning to check out a book or to take our children to story time. Many, unfortunately, do not have internet and need computers to find jobs. Cabazon desperately needs a library. Please, honorable supervisors, we pray you will think of the less fortunate and help them when they do not have a voice. There were many residents who wanted to come but couldn't afford the gas. We have signatures from neighbors in Cabazon who want the monies to stay in Cabazon. Our kids in Cabazon need help, and having a nice new library and more activities for the children, which will keep them away from gangs and drugs. Drugs are a big problem, and we need to provide more positive outlets for the families. Having a nice new staff library will be a start. Please bring back the Cabazon money to Cabazon. Thank you for all you do and continue to help our residents in Riverside County. This is a little jingle from our children of Cabazon. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. Oh, please don't take my only sunshine. Don't take my sunshine away.
Thank you, Louise. Great voice. And you put a pose here, but it would appear that you're in support of the new library.
We love the library.
Okay, thank you. Mark Gastel, followed by, I think it's Lauren, correct? Robinson. Mark?
Hello, good morning.
Morning.
My name is Mark Gastelum, and I'm a resident in Cabazon, California. I wrote something real quick while I was in the little dining room area. Got caught, sorry. On behalf of my children, I request that the funding for this library be provided as said. Our kids need a place along the mountain of a city set aside but not forgotten. A small city with children having big dreams. There are many kids in our community that need this library, who currently just hang out as the sun sets. We need a library, whereas family that can't afford books, computers, videos because of fixed incomes. Our family has a choice, buy a book or food. What do I say to my family? Let's eat. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Laren Robinson. Laren's going to be followed by Victoria Hatch.
Actually, I'm in support of not opposing. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for this opportunity to be able to share. But I'm also a resident, actually a Banning, and I live right down the street from our current library. My request is for the money to actually be sent to the Cabazon people. And the reason why I'm submitting that request is it's been a convenience for me to be able to walk down the street and go into the library. But just here recently, Mark, the guy I just shared a second ago, opened up his house for us to start to educate the Cabazon people who sit along the mountain in the back. And one of the things, there was a little girl who actually came up to me, and we had a Bible sitting out there, and she picked up the Bible, she says, "Can you read this to me?" And I started to share with her 2 of the verses, and then when I closed it, I handed it to her. She held it for a few minutes, that book. And then she came back, she says, "Sir, here's your book. You're gonna need this." The children of our community, the children of Cabazon, they need this. And I wrote this for the people. Libraries are important. The improvement of library services provides a positive experience for local people. But building one demonstrates the value a local authority places on its community. Contributing to the community enhances the quality of the Cabazon people. As important is the need for local people to see for themselves that the government cares enough to put a place there to educate their children. A good library service will provide unto the community. We've seen the following. A positive future for the children of the Cabazon people. To fulfilling life for the older people of Cabazon, where the kids are being educated and they're not being taught by the local drug dealers on how to sell drugs. They're being taught by librarians on how to read. This is what we need. Let's put away the $50,000 a year that they're utilizing to house inmates and put that $50,000 a year into our librarians, into the educational centers. I challenge today the people. We educate 10 children. We save $500,000 a year in our community that has been now diverted to housing inmates, and we send that money to educate our children. Thank you so much.
Lauren, let me ask you a question. You're in support of the new county library then? I want to confirm that.
100%.
Perfect. All right. Thank you. Victoria Hatch, followed by Delene Gonzalez, followed by Robert Lipman.
Honorable Supervisors, I am Victoria Hatch. I am chair of the trustees of the Banning Library District. My concern is the devastating nature this reduction in funding for the Banning Library District would have, first and foremost. Secondly, this has been an ongoing process of over 5 or 6 years when the Banning Library District was told that this branch was going to be their branch and it would be one that we would help supervise. The funding for it, the county brought us swatches of color, how to put up the racks for books, all of the above sorts of things, and suddenly, a year and a half ago, we were informed, no, not yours anymore. Our concern has always been for the people of Cabazon also. A vast majority of those who do use the library have come to Banning and used the library. The issue related, as is stated, and I want to commend Christopher Hahn for his presentation that I believe you all have a copy of, in stating our position. It would be absolutely devastating. We would have to close the library in Banning a number of days. We also have an issue of 30,000 population, somewhere between 14 and 4,000 population base. So it really is something that would be a devastating event in the life of the library in Banning. And we really do see our role as the trustees of the Banning Library District in terms of the fiduciary responsibility to the people of Banning. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Ms. Hatch. Delene Gonzalez, followed by Robert Lippman.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to yield my time to Mr. Lippman. The 3
Sure.
minutes. Thank you.
So you want to yield your 3 minutes to Mr. Lippman? Okay, that's fine. Mr. Lippman, you have 6 minutes.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, Honorable Board of Supervisors, my name is Robert Lippman, and I'm the Director of the Banning Library District, an independent special district library of the County of Riverside that serves the city of Banning and the surrounding unincorporated areas. I am here to urge you to vote no on this agenda item for the following reasons. This proposed shift of property tax revenue out of the Banning Library District will remove about 1/2 of the funding with which it serves a population of about 30,000. This will cripple delivery of library services to an already disadvantaged population. The proposed shift of funds will result in loss of jobs and reduction of library hours for the taxpayers of the district. If this proposal is enacted, the revenue will be used to pay part of the cost for a private firm to open up a new branch of the Riverside County Library System in Cabazon, which will serve a population of less than 3,000. The County of Riverside is in the process of constructing Cabazon Community Library within the district boundaries as part of an expansion of the James Venable Center. The shift of property tax funds is in preparation for a hearing scheduled for later this month by the local agency formation commission to redraw the boundaries of the Banning Library District to exclude the Cabazon region. This proposed shift may be in conflict with California state law. Last year, the governor signed AB 438, which as of the 1st of this year, requires jurisdictions that wish to contract with a private firm for providing library services to do so using a competitive bidding process and provide evidence of cost savings. The Board of Trustees of the Banning Library, the governing body of the Banning Library District, was told consistently by the EDA from 2006 to 2011 that the new library planned for Cabazon was to be managed by the district. The Board of Trustees was even asked to consult on the floor plan and pick out the colors that should be painted. The project was then put on hold for several years. After the EDA learned that they would be losing the ability to borrow against future revenue, the county EDA informed the district that the Cabazon Community Library would be built after all, but the management contract would be given to the private firm that manages the Riverside County Library System, Library Systems and Services, or LSSI. The current contract between the EDA and LSSI does not include provisions for providing library services to the Cabazon region. The district is asking for the opportunity to compete for the management contract to provide library service to the Cabazon region. LSSI's value proposition to government agencies comes from its ability to void collective bargaining agreements and pension obligations. The district is not subject to union contracts and has no defined benefit pension obligations. This has enabled the district to not have to tap its reserve funds, which for the upcoming fiscal year are total to about 50% of total projected property tax revenue. This careful stewardship of taxpayer funds is the result of local control that LSSI does not provide and strict auditing and disclosure requirements that LSSI is not subject to. If LSSI is awarded a no-bid contract to provide library service to the Cabazon region, it will result in an undisclosed amount of taxpayer funds going to the undisclosed investors in a private equity firm. LSSI, a Maryland corporation, is owned by Islington Capital Partners, a Massachusetts hedge fund. The ownership of Islington Capital Partners is not required to be disclosed by law. This ownership arrangement makes it impossible to tell how much taxpayer money is leaving Riverside County because LSSI has never disclosed the amount of profit it makes on its contract with the EDA. As I was preparing these remarks, I read an editorial written by Supervisor Stone in Sunday's Press Enterprise. I would like to share some phrasing from that article. These are Supervisor Stone's words. Government needs to be accountable to the people it serves. The competitive bidding process is how we as elected representatives can make the best informed decision when spending taxpayer dollars. From building roads to buying office supplies, when the County of Riverside wants to procure any products or services from an outside vendor, we commonly issue a request for proposals and invite vendors to submit their proposals. We then review these proposals and determine which vendors can provide us with the best service at the most reasonable cost to taxpayers. This tough economic climate has forced our board to reduce county services due to dramatic reductions in state funding and local revenue. In these times, it is unfair to award a multi-million-dollar contract without a public bid. It is not transparent. It is not fiscally responsible. I urge the Board of Supervisors to do the right thing for the taxpayers of Riverside County. Do not vote in favor of the shift. To do so will destroy the Banning Public Library's ability to provide service and remove local oversight for much of the Banning Library District. I am not criticizing LSSI. They provide good library service, and they stepped in to manage the Riverside County Library at a time when the City of Riverside's management gave unfavorable terms to the taxpayers of the county. But the exploitation of library funds by organized labor has been replaced by exploitation of library funds by corporate ownership. If the County of Riverside does decide to shift the property tax revenues out of the local jurisdiction, the Banning Library District asks the board to allow this shift to take place gradually over a 5-year period, as took place when the Sun Lakes neighborhood of Banning was redistricted by LAFCO into the Banning Library District from the Beaumont Library District. This would allow a transition period where crucial library services could be preserved for the population of the Banning Library District and avoid a sudden drop-off in funds, which would result in layoffs. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Robert, that was Robert. Carol Barra, we do not allow clapping in the boardroom. Thank you for respecting that rule. Carol Barra, followed by Martin Sanderson.
I'm in support of shifting all the money because for the very simple reason, he may have all of his facts straight, but the last 20 years, Banning has done absolutely zilch for Cabazon Library. Days were cut. The last year, I think it was open 2 half days. The computers they put in for the kids were older than I am, and that's saying something, okay? I mean, you can count all the rings, so no. They have kept the money, they have used it for Banning. Banning has a beautiful library. I've been there. I have a Banning library card. But I think Cabazon money needs to be in Cabazon, and that's why I'm supporting it, that you shift it, and Riverside takes control of it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Carol. Martin, followed by our last speaker, Ernie Saldana.
I'm Martin Sanderson, and from Cabazon, and I have property there and live there. The one thing, I've got all my little cards, but the library that's proposed will be south of the tracks. And that means that some of the people that are less economically endowed would have more readily access to the library. The one that was existing, the Banning Library, was north of the tracks, so that's just one thing. But anyhow, I support the executive officer's motion to detach property from Banning Library District. I believe the new library should receive adequate funding, and property taxes are a reflection of property values. That being said, those taxes, property taxes, are based on that property. They should be placed back into that community. I haven't crunched the numbers on all but it looks to me like we, I don't want to say we've been slighted, but this is more of a true reflection of tit for tat, of reality. If we're getting the real estate and the funding will be more used where it was produced. And now, if it's possible, Ernie Saldana is a MAC member, and he came to my house last night, and I printed this out for him, and he has 20 signatures on here that support, this is Ernie Saldana, that support, and they read the motion, they support the library system being out there. I hate to use the phrase redheaded stepchild, because I was a stepchild, but oftentimes we feel like that in Cabazon. But then the benefit is, of course, it's like people say, we're a mountain community or whatever, near the hills. But this is a good thing for the library to be out there. The Civic Center is a good thing. So please vote accordingly. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I know the feeling growing up in a large Italian family, you sometimes feel like a stepchild. Ernie Saldana, our last speaker.
Sorry. This is the statement. Should I give it to the clerk?
Yes, please give that to the clerk. Thank you, Martin. Is Ernie here? Ernie Saldana? Okay. No. Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. I did not catch that. Then we are done with our speakers. Thank you. That's his written statement. Supervisor Stone.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As most of you know, Supervisor Ashley is not here today, and he asked me to deliberate on this issue for him. And I appreciate all the speakers that came all the way from the Banning Cabazon area to share their concerns. Riverside County EDA is building a new 5,470 square foot library in Cabazon in this new Civic Center site. And as one of the speakers very eloquently said, that libraries truly represent the values of the community, and I agree with that. We're building one in Idlewild, we built one in Sun City, refurbished them, expanded them, and with all the technology, we have to do whatever we can to augment the educational needs of not only our children, but our adults that are going back to school to retrofit their skills with the new jobs that are out there with clean, green energy, etc. The property taxes are about $250,000, which will be needed to take care of the operating costs of $410,000 a year. And we heard a lot of the speakers say today that, you know, if the money is generated in Cabazon, it should be returned to Cabazon. And I think Supervisor Ashley and I as well agree with that. The Banning Library District closed down the Cabazon Library in June 2011, and the library was only open 12 hours a week, so it was probably a good decision to do that. And the Banning Library District will continue to receive the $250,000 that we talked about through December of 2013. So hopefully that's some time to deal with the revenue shortfall that they're concerned about, and rightfully so, they should be concerned about that. But one thing I have to applaud Supervisor Ashley is that he has made Cabazon, a very small, low-income community, have resources and have facilities. And they have probably the highest unemployment rate in this county, approaching 37%. I don't think that Supervisor Ashley has made any decisions with regard to putting this out to bid, the county contract for our private company, LSSI, that manages our libraries, and I might add that they do a fantastic job. But like with every other contract in the county, we need to examine all of these contracts and certainly put them out to bid to make sure that we have a transparent expenditure of public money and making sure that we have the most qualified firms consistently delivering the services in this county. I also might add that the West Desert Municipal Advisory Council supports this. And of course, all of this is going to be contingent on LAFCO that is going to consider changing the boundaries of the Banning Library District. So there's still a lot of steps that have to happen for this to come to fruition. This is just setting the stage that if it should come to fruition, that they set that the property taxes generated for libraries in Banning will stay in Banning, and most of us on the board believe in local control, and we shouldn't be using tax monies to subsidize services in other areas of the county other than where they were originating from. So with that, Mr. Chair, if there's any more speakers, I'll move staff recommendation on behalf of Supervisor Ashley.
Okay, I'll second your motion, item 3.49. Yeah, I'm sorry, Supervisor Buster.
Just a question, I just wanted to clarify, the staff report indicates that the Banning Library District, even though it would be losing, what, $250,000 annually, if this proposal, this annexation takes place, it is in the process of getting a increase in property taxes from their own annexation of portions of the Beaumont Library District that will, total about, over $200,000, somewhat near. So they're losing on this end, they're gaining on the Beaumont annexation. Is that correct?
Yes, Supervisor Buster, I'm sorry. Tina Grandy with the Executive Office. Yes, there was a property tax exchange that occurred due to Banning's annexation of the Sun Lakes area. And with that, we assisted in the negotiation, and there was a tick down on that. And the reasoning behind the tick down on that was that it was just taking over a population. There wasn't going to be a new library in that area. And so we are, next fiscal year, this fiscal year, they are going to get 20%. The following fiscal year, they will get 40% of that money. The total 100% is estimated to be about $200,000.
All right, so it's somewhat near the amount that's being lost in this, or could be lost if this proposal goes forward. Is that right?
That's correct.
And then they're also gaining the savings, whatever savings they have over the shutdown of the Cabazon Library too. So that's accruing to them as well. Is that right?
Yes, they didn't operate last fiscal year, and they're not going to operate this fiscal year in the Cabazon area.
All right, well, I mean, from those standpoints, I think the County of Riverside is trying to handle this issue fairly with respect to all these communities, and has not treated the Banning Library District with any kind of selective proposals that would penalize them. So thank you.
Thank you.
Right. Thank you, Supervisor Bester. We do have a motion and a second. Item 3.49. Please vote. Motion is unanimous, taking us to our successor agency for redevelopment.
Mr. Chair, before we go to that, if you don't mind, can we go back to board member comments? I forgot to mention one issue, if I could, that I would like to ask staff for some guidance, if I could. Just take about 2 minutes.
Well, yes, sir.
Thank you.
I
appreciate that. You know, the citizens of this county pay what's called Prop 172 funds. I think this is a half-cent sales tax that goes to public safety agencies in the county of Riverside. And there are a number of cities that pay this tax. Their citizens pay this tax, but none of the Prop 172 funds go back to those municipalities because they probably weren't informed at the time that the tax was passed. So what I'd like to do is, if the executive office and working with the auditor can come back with a report showing us the Prop 172 that's collected and where it goes, and then I'd like the board to consider how do we mitigate cities that pay that tax but get nothing in return for it. There needs to be some equity somehow in that, and I certainly don't want to discuss it today, but if the executive office will work with the auditor on that and bring it back to a future agenda item, I'd appreciate that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Stone. Now to the redevelopment agency, successor agency, items 4.1. I'm going to move approval of item 4.1. Second your motion, Supervisor Benoit, please vote. Motion is unanimous. Item 4.2 is a public hearing on adoption of resolution 2012-006, transfer of redevelopment agency assets to housing authority. I don't know that we have a presentation necessary here. Anyone in the audience wishing to speak on item 4.2? Seeing no one, we'll close the public hearing. Move a motion. I'll second your motion, Supervisor Stone. 4.2. Motion is unanimous. Item 4.3. Supervisor Bester.
Move approval of item 4.3.
I'll second your motion. Please vote. Motion is unanimous. All right, taking us to item 4.4, we do have a couple of speakers here. And we'll start with Gary Grant. Gary?
I would like to speak on this issue because of the fact that it involves RDA and it involves the county. And it apparently involves developers of that growth, commercial growth, et cetera, et cetera. and plans have already been established by RDA, and this is managed by our EDA, Economic Development Agency, which you understand that I do feel that that's the disaster agency of this whole county governance. And as far as I'm concerned, there's intrigue. It needs a review of the total transplantation of this RDA process upon that city, which you allowed to create a city in that area, prior to any activity or any action to be taken on this issues of RDA substance. And I know you won't do it. It's against your principles because you don't represent we the people, as you proved to me many, many, many times. Thank you.
Thank you, Gary. Christopher Sutton has been given 3 minutes by Paul Jacobs. Christopher.
My name is Christopher Sutton. I'm an attorney for Lenoria Market and Australia International, one of the current businesses at this location. When this project was considered a year ago, my client's property was not included. The appropriation you're considering today relates to my client's property. My client operates a market. You want to replace my client with a market. And we would like to stay there. We would like to buy the property without subsidies, pay fair market value. The successor agency has been shut down. These expenditures were never pre-committed, were not existing obligations. The statement that these are is simply a lie, and we are going to file a complaint with the Department of Finance. This expenditure probably violates AB 1484, signed by the governor last week, implementing the state budget to divert additional redevelopment money back to the schools and to the county itself. My client had rights to owner participation under redevelopment law and under the redevelopment agency's own guidelines. When we asked for copies of those, we were told they do not exist, or maybe they exist at the county clerk's office, at the Board of Supervisors. We submitted a Public Records Act request there on May 22nd. We got a response yesterday, over 30 days late, that they're going to need more time to get our response. Our Public Records request to the EDA said they will not produce the emails between them and this proposed developer, Cardenas Markets, one of our competitors. When there was a partial demolition on this site in November 2011, there was violations found by the AQMD and some kind of citations were issued. We don't know how they are resolved. Regarding this contractor, is the county paying this contractor's violations? This contract requires there to be a general plan amendment, a zoning code amendment, and an environmental document. The general plan amendment and zoning code must go through the city of Harupa Valley. We will oppose that. We will pay for and fund a referendum petition on any action required that will put my client out of business, is what you're proposing. We urge you to cancel the Mission Plaza project, sell the land to the people who are there now who want to buy it. Don't enter it, disavow this subsidized thing you have with Cardenas. We want to remain. My client has been a market there for 20 years. The citizens of Harupa Valley want my client to remain. The city of Harupa Valley has control over the zoning and the general plan. You cannot do your development without the city's approval. We will oppose that. You also are talking about a negative declaration as an environmental document. Because you're expanding this project dramatically now with this contract, you are going to need to do a full environmental impact report, which you have never done, and we're going to insist upon that. We're probably going to be filing litigation shortly to enforce the Public Records Act as the ETA and as the Board of Supervisors clerk. We urge you to protect the small businesses in Harupa Valley. We urge you to abandon this agreement with Cardenas. We urge you to vote no on this expenditure today, or at least go to your staff and ask what would happen if the funds for this Mission Plaza project, many millions of dollars, was put back into the hopper to be redistributed to the taxing agencies. The county general fund would get a significant portion of that. You should not be engaging in this continual redevelopment project where there is a city in existence. Let the private sector handle it. Let my client buy their property.